right, we'll call this meeting to order. The Piqua Schools Board of Education meeting on February 27th. Jeremy, will you please call roll?
Mr. Mitchell.
Here.
Mrs. McMacken.
Here.
Mrs. Mars.
Here.
Mr. Frazier.
Here.
Mr. Ford.
Here. All right, we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Everyone has the minutes in front of you, and you also received them via email. So if there are any additions or changes, we'll do that now. If not, I will take a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Kelly, and then JoJo. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right. Minutes have been approved. Moving on to the approval of tonight's agenda. If anyone has any questions, you can ask that now. If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right. Agenda is approved. All right, moving on. We have nothing for hearing of the public. Now we're going to move to the treasurer's agenda. Jeremy.
Good evening. Any questions about the financial reports that you received? Everything is pretty much on target for where we expected to be in January, so we're a smidge above. If you were doing the math, we looked at that when Sean and I and Tony and Dwayne met. But that will pan out as we move forward throughout the year as far as the 1% that we're off. So we pay some stuff in January that's a one-time payment. So otherwise, we're on target still for ending the year in the black, and things are going along well in that regard. Not so much as we get to the school funding part of the whole thing, but we're just going to keep being patient. I'm not going to go on my tirade today because we don't know what this is all going to play out. So by June 30th, we'll know what's going to happen. But if I can get the public to let them know that they need to write letters to their representatives and ask them to do the fair school funding formula and implement it fully, that's what we really need from the public. So if the public's listening and they want to help, writing a letter basically saying you support the fair school funding formula, please implement it completely. I have some templates, so if you want to email me at hiddlej@piqua.org, I can send those out to the public as well, so that you can help support public schools, because this budget cycle is going to be difficult. So any help we can get from the public would be great. The only other thing we have tonight is there was an extra tuition reimbursement that did not make it onto the agenda last month, and so it's for $300 for Alexandria Davis. So that's all I have for this month.
All right. Any questions for Jeremy?
I
Is
don't
it-
have questions, but can you just give a really quick, brief explanation to everybody as to why this is so important?
Brief.
Brief. And non-heat, just a
Yeah.
brief
Keep your blood pressure down.
summary.
Oh, my blood pressure is really good today. Really good. No issues. We have a House and a Senate that are both controlled by Republicans, as well as a Republican governor. The Speaker of the House, as well as the President of the Senate, are not fans of public schools. And so they've made it very clear that their goal is to cut public funding to school districts. And they are going to put that money towards private school districts. Over $1 billion is going towards private school districts. And those school districts are not accountable the same way that public schools are. They run by a whole different set of rules / no rules, basically. And so when that money is getting siphoned off from us, it actually makes it a lot less, it makes it a lot harder for us to do our job, because we don't have the funds that we need to take care of, especially our special ed kids, and that's where this is going to all come back to. We are going to become the school for special ed, while everyone else will be attending private schools. And so it's really going to do a separation of the haves and the have-nots, and that was not the intent of the Constitution of the state of Ohio when it said that we're supposed to fund schools adequately and equitably, and we're not there. We're not doing that. We haven't been doing that. We haven't been getting paid what the formula says for the entire time I've been here. So as we keep this battle going, we need the public's help in pushing that out there and saying we believe in our public schools. Otherwise, what we are going to be left with are the kids that nobody wants, because public schools take everybody, because that's how we are. We believe every kid needs an education, and private schools believe a select few people that they want to educate get an education. And there's just a massive philosophy difference in that. Anytime that you don't have to take special ed kids, of course it's cheaper. So it's easy for the speaker to go, they're spending so much money. Well, private schools don't have to spend the money that I have to spend. There are kids that cost $100,000 a year. They don't have to deal with that. So, of course, it's not an apples to apples comparison. So, I don't know. I've taken a lot of it very personally, and so I know you didn't want me to really get into it, but a lot of it is personal, because he said that basically public schools waste money. I don't know that you're going to find a lot of people in the city of Piqua that are going to say that this school district wastes money, because that's not how we've operated. So that's very frustrating for me.
When did this trend start? I mean, when did they start moving in that direction? Has it been a long time? Like, I don't know. I mean, like.
No, this has happened since I've been here over the last 10 years. It started initially. They were trying to pull a few schools and say, well, parents need a decision or choice because they're not performing well in their reading scores. And actually, the first school building that this district had was the Washington building. Well, that was for a data error, because we built new buildings and things got all mixed around, and grade levels got messed up and everything else. Washington was actually, when you looked at the data, was our highest performing building. Yet that was the building they chose to say that was school choice. So that's when that process started. So it was 8 or 9 years ago. It might have been 10. Time flies when you're having fun. But that's when this all started, and then they kept building it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and now it's basically, you can take your kid wherever you want, and we're going to put the money with the kid wherever they go. Well, that's fine if we were all playing on the same field, but we're not all on the same field. So you can't say that these rules are the same, and you guys can't do this, but they can do this. And there's no accountability. At the end of the day, we're sending $1 billion+ to private entities with no requirement to audit, no requirement to report out to the public about how their money is being spent. It's our taxpayer money being spent by a private group, yet we have no input or any transparency in that process. And it just seems so counterintuitive from what conservatives would normally say. It's like a reverse. We've gone so far right, we went left. It's hard for me to wrap my head around, because I am a conservative. I don't care. I'll say it. I am. But in this case, it's so far from the way that it should be, according to the Constitution of the state of Ohio. We've had this conversation, this argument, for the entire time that Dwayne has been in education. It's been the same crap. We've not paid for our schools like the Constitution says. And so until we can figure that out, we're going to be in trouble. We can have the next governor saying that he wants to be the all that of schools in the country, and there's nothing wrong with competition, but you got to get to the root problem, and that isn't public education. It's how the rules that politicians have made since I was a kid. I was the first person that ever had to take a standardized test to graduate. If I didn't pass it, I wasn't graduating. That was a new thing. And education hasn't gotten better since they've implemented this testing. It's gotten worse. So you got to go, well, who's been dictating all this? The politicians. The last 30 years of education has been dictated by politicians. So if they don't like what's happened, they need to look in the mirror, because they're the ones who created the problem, not the practitioners who have an education and a background and a knowledge base to be able to do this work. It's the politicians. So they need a mirror. They need to look at themselves, because they created the problem over the last 30 years, not public education. Anyways, you can give me my soapbox all day, and I can get fired up.
Part of it was financially, when we look at it, he's right. My whole career, public education has been funded unconstitutionally. It has not been funded correctly. Cupp and Patterson got together a few years ago and tried to correct that and put a 3-year phase in. So all districts, budgeted and planned for that 3-year phase in. 2 years happened. We're heading into the 3rd year, and now they've changed their mind and said, we're going to go this direction instead. So everybody was counting on that 3rd year phase in. Most likely now, again, we won't know till June 30th, it's not going to happen. So that throws a lot of things in disarray. And not only that, then you got to think about what happens after that. After that 3-year phase in was supposed to happen, we thought corrections would go into play. They're probably not now. So there's a lot of unknowns. And when you try to put a 5-year forecast together and plan out for the future, it's very difficult when they do a new budget every 2 years and politically it just keeps changing. So that's the biggest problem I think districts are facing is they're not going to get that 3rd year phase in and all the unknowns that happen after that.
And it's one of those things where they keep adding more things. So we're talking about dyslexia and dyslexia training and all the reading, the direct instruction that has to happen with the smaller groups, the high intensity instruction, all the little things that we had to do to create coaches. And no, go ahead, Kiera, because this is Kiera's thing. Go ahead.
Well, here's what I said all along. If what they're mandating to public education is so good and so important for public education kids, why doesn't it get mandated for every kid in the state? There was just some hearings recently where the non-public charter schools who have to follow some of the same rules are now saying we can't be successful because we have to follow the same rules that the public schools have to follow. They're saying, can we have that removed from us so we can help our students be more successful? In other words, they're saying all the stuff that's mandated to them is in the way. So it's hard to compete with charter, private and so on schools when we have restrictions and they don't, yet we're all using the same tax dollars, our tax dollars. So to be fair, again, if they're going to mandate stuff, mandate it across the board, have everybody accountable, or let us compete fairly for the dollars that we're all using to educate kids. I don't have a problem with competition, just make it fair. The example I give is if you go buy yogurt and one has all the ingredients, the price, and everything to it to help you make a decision, and this one doesn't, it just has a pretty label, you can't make an informed decision as to which yogurt's going to be the best one. You need both of them to have the fullness of communication to their product. And that's what we're facing. So our frustration is we're doing everything that the state tells us, putting everything in place, yet they're taking more money from us. Other entities aren't required to do all that, yet they're given a lot more money. So it's just a struggle. Good question.
Doesn't make sense.
Is there any way that, can you email maybe us that template that we could write and then we could share it with people that we
and know that it's a template. They will not read it. So if you just use it and replace a few words, they're not going to read it. They want actual personalized,
Signatures.
like words.
Your thoughts, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, yes, I will send it out. Just make sure that you're actually putting your words into it, because otherwise it'll just get shoved over. They don't read
Okay.
And the real
letters that don't come from you.
The real important thing to never forget is, as public educators, we will educate every kid. That's where every kid has an opportunity to get an education to
But I
better
think if you would
themselves.
talk to the public, most citizens, I think they would agree with this. I don't understand how.
90%
No.
would agree with this, 100%.
That's
So
what I don't understand how the public.
the public doesn't
majority of
understand
everybody
what's
would agree
happening
with
yet.
this.
That's why I feel like I need to shout it from the rooftops, because I don't think it's like it's not broke. They don't realize it's broke yet. But we know what's coming. And so it's this, like, I'm the early warning signal saying, hey, we have a problem. And it really is going to be a problem. What happens? They're going to cut funding. So what does that mean? Well, that means local taxpayers are going to have to pay more money, or our schools are going to have less people helping our kids, which means the results aren't going to necessarily turn out better, because now we're able to do less programming than what we currently are doing. So I don't, the thought process in that is almost doesn't make sense either, because that means less resources to do the work, and then you're still going to get judged and say that your scores are still terrible. Well, you're not going to fix it that way. And I'm not saying that money is going to fix everything. There is something about socioeconomics and in your community that is always going to drive the result of a test. We are not going to be Oakwood. We are not going to be Upper Arlington. We don't have the same socioeconomics, and that matters when it comes to test scores. It just does. So to think that we're going to perform the same way, it's never going to happen. If we're growing kids, I guarantee every time you stack us up against how we're growing kids, we grow kids, big time. Much more than an Oakwood grows a kid. I can tell you that. But that's not how we're being judged about our growth. We're being judged on a test score. So, anyways, it's a race. If you think about it, if a track, Oakwood gets a 100-yard start, it doesn't matter. We're not going to catch up.
So it's important for us all to speak up.
You got to say something now, 100%, because they're working through it. The governor released his budget, and then the House will do theirs, and then the Senate will do theirs, and then it all gets reconciled, and they churn out something by June 30th.
So we need to speak up and get letters starting now?
Now through June 30th,
June
telling them
30th.
that you support the fair school funding formula,
Yeah.
that you
You'll
support
tell
public
us where to-
education.
You'll tell us where to mail them to.
I will send you everything you need. If the public wants to email me, I will send them the same information.
Okay.
Any other questions for Jeremy? You handled that very
You did
well.
a good job.
That's good. For being sick, I'm putting a good show on.
All right. Hearing that, I will take a motion to approve the treasurer's agenda.
So moved.
We have a second. All right. Jeremy, will you please call roll?
Wait a second.
Steve.
Mr. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mrs. McMacken. Mrs. Mars.
Aye.
Mr. Ford.
Aye.
Mr. Frazier.
All right. Treasurer's agenda is approved. Moving on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you. Important time for us this year. Kindergarten registration is getting ready to begin. So Mindy's going to do an update so you're all aware of what's coming up as well as our public, so we can start getting this process going and we can get connected to our future class of 2038.
Wow.
Mindy.
Yes, that's fun. 2038 is we're going to be welcoming them next fall. So add that up, Sean. How old will you be? 64. I did that. Okay. There you go. So, yep, we're going to be starting this fall with the class of 2038, and that time is starting soon. We'll start getting them registered for school. And let's see. Technology. They give me a clicker and they don't even turn it on. So with Miami County, we're lucky that all public schools in Miami County are the same age. So if you have a child here in Piqua that would be 5 on or before August 1st of this school year, you are eligible to enroll them in kindergarten. Now, a lot of times I get questions. Do they have to be in kindergarten at the age of 5? No. Age of 6 is compulsory age. So if they turn 6 and they haven't been in kindergarten yet and they're 6 before August 1st, enroll them in kindergarten. That still is acceptable too. So we are working on kindergarten registration. That's going to be starting Monday, March 3rd. And we're going to open that up for the residents of the city of Piqua to start registering their 5-year-old or soon-to-be 5-year-olds into kindergarten. So the process is going to look a little bit different this year, and that's kind of what I'm going to explain. We're going to do more of a central registration instead of doing it at either Spring Creek or Washington, just to make things more concise. Everybody gets the same information, and we can make things hopefully work a little bit easier for our community. So what we're going to ask parents to do on Mondays is to go to our website, especially under our student registration page. We do have a kindergarten registration ready to go. Final forms will be open. Parents can complete that application. That doesn't mean they're registered yet. It just means we have their application ready to go. And then we're going to ask parents to get their documents together. Those documents, I'll have a list here on the next slide for everybody to see. Once you have your application completed, you have all your documents ready to go, we're going to ask that you call the Board of Education or email the Board of Education to set up a registration appointment. We'll have everybody here ready to go. We'll look over your documents, answer any questions that may come up from the application and the documents, and then we're going to ask parents questions like, when would you like to do screening? You know, have you registered or signed up for a bus route? All the major questions that we need to make sure that we have ready for the start of the school year. So the documents that we do need from parents about their kiddos is we need a certified birth certificate for the child's birth. We also need a photo ID of the legal guardian or parent, proof of residency that they live within the city of Piqua, or the Piqua City School District anyway. So that would be a city bill, AES, gas bill. We'll take any of those three. We prefer those three. Court documents, if there's any custody issues. And then immunization and physical. Those do not have to be completed at registration, but they need to be up and final before the first day of school for parents. And then if their child has been in preschool and they're receiving special education services, if they have that they have their ETR, their IEP, or their 504 plan, we would ask for that as well. So parents may be saying, you know, what do I need to do then to make my child ready for school to be successful? It's easy. It's three things. Encourage independence. Pretty much making sure that they can do things on their own. Put their shoes on, put their socks on, you know, button up their coat or zip up their coat. Be able to use the restroom, you know, is kind of important. Being able to open certain items for lunch, you know, they're going to pack a Lunchable, see if they can get that open, just to be more independent on their own. That's what we're asking. Play, most important. Why? Well, we want to limit the time that they have on the screen. We know that play develops creative thinking. It helps helps kids problem solve. It lets kids understand empathy, how to play when they play with friends, how to be able to handle social skills like that. Play can be anything from either coloring, cutting, board games, imagination, you know, imaginary play, whatever they can do playing with their friends. We're encouraging that. And the one other thing that we're encouraging is reading. Read to your child. We have the 1,000 books that we're trying to get established that kids read before they come to kindergarten. Emily Schaller's doing a great job getting that out. Make sure you contact her. If you are reading to your children, ask questions. It doesn't have to be anything too hard. What's the book about? What do you like? What's your favorite? You know, who's the main character? What do you think they're going to do next? Tell me what you remember. Easy questions. And I'm not a reader, and I can come up with those. So that's pretty good on my part, too. And then for central registration, once you have everything ready, we are going to be taking appointments every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We're going to open that up from 9 to 3:30. If that interferes with any of your work schedules, please contact us anyway. We're going to work around that and get some time set up independently on those as well. Information's there. We're going to be here on Looney. Phone number is 937-773-4321, and we made a new email. So if you have questions, just email registration@piqua.org. Any questions from the board on this?
Sounds good.
Just for the people, if there's like the video goes viral on
Yes.
YouTube and people are
It-
wondering
let's,
about
let's hope it does go viral.
Yeah.
I mean, I made a presentation. It's going to go viral.
it.
Right.
Could
It could.
where if someone wants a birth certificate, where do they go to get it? Because
So
some
on the
people
web-
might not
yeah,
know where it is.
On the website, I even put a link. So there's the Office of Vital Statistics from the Ohio Department of Health. It's on our website. It takes you right there where to get it.
Perfect.
I knew, Sean, you were going to answer that question, so I had that ready to go.
There you go.
We don't have a place that you can go to, like in Troy or any place?
And most of the time, it's straight through the state.
Yeah.
Really?
You can go to the
You can
Miami
go to
County
the health-
building, the health
Yeah, you
building.
can go to the health department, but a lot of
And get
times,
it.
too, you can go to the
It's
state.
$25,
Yep.
I think, is what it was.
Either way.
That
Any other
little thing you're
questions?
given when they're born with their PD on it and everything, that's not it.
Correct. We want the actual birth certificate.
Official, yep.
And again, if anybody has any questions or concerns with any of those, we'll be glad to help out and work through that.
Seems like just yesterday we were doing our kids for,
Yep.
and now we're
Seems
graduating.
Like, seems like just yesterday I was standing up here talking about kindergarten registration last year, so
Yeah. Oh,
spring is here.
Groundhog Day.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Might as well stay up there. So Mindy also helps direct two programs that we have. One's called IC, the other is Traveling Smiles, and it has been great to see those programs and the impact they're having on kids and families. And she'll come back with reports and some photos sometimes, and they're special. They really are. So we were talking about the last time how many kids got glasses and eye exams that wouldn't have had them otherwise, and it just really was kind of a touching presentation she did. So I asked her to share with you guys this work because I think it's important to see another way we're supporting our kids and their families.
So one of the great things about my job is that we can work with our families on making sure they get what they need for their kids. So our nursing staff came up last spring to talk about the IC program, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that to you today. So really, it's without our nurses that they really made this all happen. I was just kind of behind the scenes, sharing information, and then trying to get some scheduling put together for them. But this is all through the Ohio Optometrist Association. I never say that word correctly, so I'm just going to make it up. And then it's a grant-funded program, so everything that we received was no charge to us. So I'll discuss that too. But just some background information. If you think about it, 80% of what we learn is visual. And then if you look at our K through 6 students, according to the American Public Health Association, about 25% of them have some type of visual discrepancy. And in Ohio, when our nursing staff, they'll do vision checks, and I'll show you what grades, because I can never remember. I know kindergarten's 1, first grade's 1. All the kids that receive vision checks from our school nurses in the state of Ohio, about 80% of them who do not pass will not go see an eye physician, will not go to an eye doctor. So at the IC program, none of this was a cost to us. And that includes the event itself, so the vision screenings that they did, and or the glasses. So an actual optometrist did come. They volunteered their time, came to give the kids that we referred eye screening tests, and then those that did not pass the vision screenings were able to receive some eyeglasses. Had one student that needed more further care, so that parent was notified, and then that child was also going to receive more office-based care from that physician. So what we did was all the school nurses here in Piqua, all 5 of them, they're all certified by the Prevent Blindness Ohio to complete vision screenings for all of our students. So this fall, early in the fall, they all went together. They performed vision screenings for every kindergartner, 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, and 11th grader. That's a lot of kids if you think about it. They went back then, any student who was new to the district in those grade levels or has never had a vision screening that they have seen from the past, they screened them, and any kid that may have had a request from a parent or a staff member was also screened.
So all of those students receive them no matter what?
Every student gets screened no matter what.
Wow.
In that grade level.
Yeah.
Now, those students that did not pass the school-based vision screening, information was sent home to their parents that they could participate then in this upcoming IC program. And we had 21 students that we had parent permission back. So for a one-day event, we were maxed out plus some, because usually they can see about 15 to 18. And I said, if I have 21 kids, can we get them all in one day? So they actually brought in another, the physician that came referred somebody else or had another person come in that afternoon. So we had two optometrists in that afternoon to try to help speed things up. So students, we had 21 students that the optometrist saw that day. 17 received glasses. And again, one student was recommended for further evaluation. What's cool is that the students then actually get to pick their glasses. So they have a display there where students can go and pick the glasses that they want to see. So I had the opportunity, because the glasses were dropped off, I had the opportunity then of handing the glasses out to students, and best day of my life. You know, I thought my 27 years in education, that day was one of the best days, and I'll show you why. That's why. So these are all the kids that allowed me to take a picture that day. A couple of them were like, nah, I don't think so. But when I said, hey, your glasses came in, I mean, smiles. One little girl said, I never knew that there was a board right there. And she's in the clinic. And she said that her glasses were superpower. So it was a good day. Looking at next year to have the IC program hopefully back again in Piqua. Again, it's through a grant funded. So if that continues, we're going to try and get them back in. Hopefully we can see an additional 21 students, if any of these students may qualify again. The good news is that if any of these glasses break during the year, we have an email that all we have to do is send it back and we'll get them replaced. Another cool program it's been in the school districts and Miami County for a while. And again, I forgot. Thank you to all of our nursing staff and all the volunteers that helped out to make that a success. But coming up soon, and hopefully it'll be at Washington, is the Miami County Dental Clinic. Again, they're going to be providing free dental care for students and again, it's going to be parent permission. So Traveling Smiles will be getting information out. I think they're going to be at Washington. At one time, they saw a lot of students in Piqua because when this first came about, Piqua City Schools opened the doors to let Traveling Smiles in. Other schools have heard about how great it is, so they're opening their doors now too. So Traveling Smiles will be back in Piqua hopefully this spring at Washington to do dental services for students that need it, that may not have a dentist that they see on a regular basis. So that's going to be available for our students again as well. And this is just past pictures of some of our kids. Love the picture on the top because if you notice, there's a little hand holding going on there. So it's community that cares for our students, that wants what's best for them. Any questions about those two programs?
Great programs.
They're excellent programs. It's good stuff.
I have to tell you that when my son got his eye exam, probably in 6th grade or maybe 7th grade, we got a note and said he didn't pass the test, and so we took him to the eye doctor. He needed glasses, and when we walked out, he looked at a tree and he said, I did never see a leaf on a tree. And I thought I was a good mother. He made me feel really bad.
Yeah.
But you just don't notice those things.
And some of the glasses, some of the kids that didn't receive glasses, a couple of them had bifocals with them. I mean, they really needed something, and I'm glad that we were able to provide that.
Yeah.
Lenses were thick on some of them, and it was just, it was good. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Back in the day, way back, before computers, there was a lot of hand-eye coordination that needed to happen when students looked at the chalkboard and wrote things down on paper. And I think a lot of teachers could pick up on those kids that were squinting or maybe missing words and not able to do that. And they would contact the nurse and say, you might want to check out this kid. And they don't have that now because they're right in front of computers or they've got things right in front of them. So I think this program is really important to help identify those students. The other end of the spectrum, Mr. Messick would like to talk about College Credit Plus and some of the work he is doing to provide some great new opportunities for our students, and this will be good for the district too.
Yeah, I really think I'm getting set up a lot. Every time I have to present, it's always after cute pictures of kids. So I don't know why we do that to me, but okay. And I even brought notes this time. Usually I just go right off the cuff, so this is going to be good. Let me take you on a journey. We, College Credit Plus journey. So, Scott, you're going to have to help chime in a little bit. College Credit Plus is not a new thing. So kids are able to earn college credit while they're attending high school. When it first came out, it was very easy. It was like you could get any teacher to teach it. They had so many years to get the certification. If that didn't work out, then the classes went away. And so A lot of classes went out there that reduced because the certification was very difficult to get and expensive. And so what we've been noticing especially over the last several years, 4 or 5 years, the amount of students that are leaving our building to go take college credit classes. And I'm going to give you an example. This is just this semester alone. So we have right now at Piqua High School, we have 492 credit hours being taken by 164 students. So that's in our building currently right now. And that's good, because it was like in the 60s about 4 years ago. Okay, that's how much it's grown. Right now, the same semester, second semester this year, we have 900 credit hours being taken by 91 students off-site. So we have 91 students, now think about that, they're taking full, almost if you were to average that out, they're doing 10 credit hours of high school. We don't see these kids at all right? And that is a huge concern to me, because, man, those are some great kids. And so we've been, you guys have been helping us out, work pretty hard to get these kids back. Some of our biggest concerns, some of these kids are our best leaders that go off there, we don't get to see them, and some of our leadership in the school is absent. And it's noticeable with the activities, the clubs, the sports. They go out there and they're full-time college students. We don't get to see them very much in those things, and so we're seeing a drop in a lot of that. The rigor, the academic rigor, has been a real concern with us. We know that there's some of the college courses that have come out, and I've gotten this information from the kids. All right, my student advisory has helped me a lot. This is one of the things they asked for, more classes in the school. They can get right on GPT, whatever that is, the AI program, and just start Googling or doing the answers on that, and they put it right in there on the college course, the online classes. So that's a real challenge. One of the big things we're finding is some of our strongest kids have big attendance problems, because if they're only taking one class with us and they're taking 3 classes at Edison, it's very easy for them not to show up for that one class. So we know that that's not good, to encourage that. And the other thing is we're removing a lot of them are doing their classes online, fully online. They're not going to Edison, but they're taking Edison classes or wherever college classes, and they're not getting the assistance they need. And so we have a lot of kids that come back and ask our teachers for help with their college classes. And we're never going to say no. We got great people, and they don't say no to those kids. But that's so we got to get this reined in, and that's kind of how you guys have been addressing this. So over the last 3 years, Jeremy and Tony and Scott and your guys' approval, you guys have been helping to get more of my high school staff certified to teach College Credit Plus. You've been paying some tuition to do so. If they're in areas that we need, areas that we address, and we've had a lot of teachers take advantage of that. So being good stewards of your money, like Jeremy has said, these are the things that we have to do to take care of to meet the needs of our kids. We've also, going to Mr. Lyons, and when he does an audit of our class sizes, and every year he takes a look at me, and really, Rob, this many kids, but he's been very committed to allow our programs to grow. So, like, for example, Mrs. Buer's Comp 1 and Comp 2 class, we started out and we barely had 2 sections. Now it's carrying 5 sections in 3 years. And that takes a big commitment from Tony and Jeremy to say, go ahead, let's keep funding it and let it build. So thank you guys for that. And then one of the biggest things is we got to inform. We're doing a really good job in the College Credit Plus meeting, informing the parents about the realities of College Credit Plus, in person versus online. You know, it's when you go online, we lose complete access to those kids. We can't. We don't know how many you know, the assignments they're doing. We're not doing grade checks with them because they keep that away from us, and they also keep it away from the parents. The kid has to report it, and every year somebody calls and says, "What do I mean I owe this much money?" My kid, you know, I said, "Well, they didn't pass the class." Well, why didn't you tell me? Because I don't know. You know, and it's dangerous. You know, in the College Credit Plus meeting, I made the comment. There were people coming in 10 minutes late, you know, to this meeting, and I told the parents, if your kid was sitting on the couch and made you late, do not sign them up for a class. All right, they're not ready for this stuff yet. You know, don't let them loose just because you think it's free college. And that's not the right attitude that you want to take. If you truly want to do College Credit Plus to better your kid, then make sure they're doing the classes online in a rigorous setting, because that's what's going to help them later. Don't just go in there and just throw it online and forget about it and say, oh, look, my kid's going to college. All right? It's not going to transfer over to or college success later on. All right, so I went off there. So, right now, next year, we are going to be at 51 College Credit Plus credit hours available at Piqua High School. Okay? You guys have certified 4 new teachers. Okay, you've paid for that. Thank you. You guys have added to us, besides in math, we've always had a calculus program. You guys have now added a quantitative reasoning and statistics to take care of our kids that are going into the business sectors and health sectors. So thank you. You've also added next year, we're going to have biology. So we're going to have Edison biology offered, taught by Mrs. Pencil, or Miss Pencil. I already talked to you about the English classes, but we did have, now because that's grown so much, we have a second English teacher. Ms. Brady is getting College Credit Plus certified also as well to pick up some of those classes. Social studies. We're going to have U.S. history, 1877 to present, and one of the biggest ones is we're going to have government. Mrs. Pace is going back to get her credits to be able to teach that class. So once again, thank you guys for supporting that. And these are all classes that the kids that we went through, the guidance department went through and said, what are the classes the kids are taking? And this is what also, when I went to my student advisory and talked to the kids in the College Credit Plus, what are the classes that they're looking for? And these are the things. We still need to work on getting some foreign language in the building, but hopefully, and by the next couple of years, by the time I'm done here, you'll be able to earn a complete associate's degree while just being at Piqua High School in the building. So that's been my goal for a while. Your guys' work has been supporting that over several years. So we're almost there. I appreciate it. That's the College Credit Plus. Any questions?
So we went from what to 51?
So we were, 4 years ago, we were at 12. 5 years ago. 5 years ago, we were 12. 4 years ago. I'm trying to think how long. When Ashley came in, it's 4 years ago. When Ashley came in, we started, because we hired her directly to teach College Credit Plus. That was one of the things that we put in. When we started recruiting teachers and interviewing, they had to be able to do this. And so that's been a big part of, the hiring process, is to get that. Because this is something our kids have requested. It's something that we need. We need to keep our buildings full of these wonderful kids. And it's better for the parents. It's better. Parents need to understand it's better to keep them in that building. They're going to get the supports they need. So,
While also the experience. They also get to be with their friends and.
absolutely right. And that that's the thing is, and like I said, when you go and you spend 10 hours, you're taking 10 credit hours as a high school student. You're not spending a lot of time doing other things that are important just for your growth as into an adulthood.
Right.
You need those things. You need those social interactions. You need to get out on the ball court. You need to do those things. It makes you tough. So there we go. Anything else?
Thank you.
All right. I will let Jamie take over next.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem.
We talked last year about some of those students we just were not able to fully meet the needs of, that had different challenges of getting to school and staying in school and getting on pathways for graduation. And we put together that program, and you helped us get the trailer outside of high school so we could put that together. We had a person dying to do the program, and we did not have to recruit. I mean, she came to us and said, I'm the person, and I've got this plan, and I'm telling you, we have not been disappointed. We have not been disappointed. We've got kids earning credits on their way to graduation. I think you already have one ready to
Two.
get two.
Yep, 100%, and the other one is about 80%.
Yeah, every time I run into her, I don't hear one challenge. It is the success that is just reeking from this room. It's just amazing. Today, Tony and I ran into her, and she's like rattling off stuff, and I said, save it for tonight, save it for tonight. So I want her to share because you really supported us with that. It was a big deal that we put that in place, and she's the person that's going to tell you about it. So Jamie, go ahead and share your program.
So first I want to thank you guys for even creating this program, because I've worked with a lot of these kids, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, and now I get them again. They were not very excited at first, but now they are. So we have 35 kids in the program. 6 of them are actually junior high, and we've already got 3 of those kiddos back into the school, and they're successful. They're passing. They're doing well. Their behavior's better. They're just so proud of themselves, and they see the value now of their education. The 29 high schoolers that we have, 2 are going to graduate, which I'm very excited. One of them is 100% done with his coursework. Now we're working on like work keys and Rise Up program, so he has other certifications to kind of go out into the world, the workforce, and really be successful. We had 3 return back to the school, 1 actually full-time to the high school. 2 of them, we have 1 going back soon. He's doing the transition, and the other one is doing mornings and afternoons, and now he's in sports. He has the good grades. He's doing well. Really, really excited about doing track, so I'm really excited for him. I have 6 kids that went back into sports too, so their credits are there, their grades are there. It's huge because they loved sports, but they were not eligible to play for years, so now they can actually do it. We're getting more back in split time. We have our referrals are down 80%. That's huge. We have a lot of behavior issues in the beginning, but they're doing so well, they see the value. So they're coming to school, they want to be there. They're actually now competing to get better grades than each other. It's so funny to see. So it's really good to see them so happy. And our staff to student ratio too, we have the opportunity to actually sit and work with them and help them with the lagging skills that they have in academics and with behavior. So we do have some bad days, don't get me wrong, but our good days definitely outweigh those bad. So, and we're seeing the progress every day. So, you guys have any
Can you
questions?
talk quickly about your staff, just like who
Yes.
you've got in there?
So we have 2 aides. One is our bus driver, which he's amazing. He does very well with the students, behavior-wise, and with just trying to get them to school. We go door to door to pick them up. We have another aide. He is in sports. He's one of the coaches, so the kids really, really attached to him because they want to do the sports, the wrestling, the football. We have a live teacher that teaches social studies and ELA, so we also teach math and stuff too. We try to get all of those core content in to help them. And then we have our IS, who's amazing. She works with every student, not just our IEP kids. And then there's me, so there's 5 of us. So
Can you feel her energy?
That's fantastic. Yeah.
It is fantastic. These are
really
kids
passionate
that
about these kids, and I
that
love
probably wouldn't graduate otherwise, and they are put on pathways to graduation and much more. I mean, she really has done a very, very good job of coordinating that.
And
Microphone.
I want to throw in here a little bit.
Microphone.
Oh, gosh. All right. I do want to throw in because, like when you have a vision and you think about something, you're like, oh, I want to do this, do that. But Jamie has taken it way to the next level. I mean, to be honest, the work that she has done is insanely incredible. It's wonderful. And I remember when we were starting to talk about who is this person going to be? Who is this person? It's going to be so dependent on this person. And then Tony goes, I'll be right back. And then, 15 minutes later, she comes popping into the room and we start talking.
It was
to
like
her.
that, too.
It literally was that. It was pretty impressive. So she's just done a phenomenal job with it. One of the things, the biggest success of it is it's a small group, and they've become this little family. I'm going to be honest, it's you walk in and they kind of look like, who's this other person that's in there? But they have this, they're like this little family, and so there's issues that do pop up, and it's okay to have a consequence, to teach kids the consequences for your actions. But because she has created an environment that they want to be in, now those consequences have weight. That's the most amazing thing about it. And so now they know that if I mess up, I can't be here, but these are my people. I want to be here with my people. And it's really changed, it's really making changes. And the fact that the kids have moved in and out of the program and going into the building and going back to her for a little bit and so on, it's just, yeah, it is way better than what we expected this early. So big kudos to her. She's doing a wonderful job. Good hire.
You have any questions for me?
So once a kid moves out of the program back into the school, do you still see them at all, or
Oh, yeah.
okay?
Yeah, I'll go visit them. I'll go check in on them. They know that we're still there. They can email me. They can email one of the staff members, and we'll take time out to go visit them and make sure that they're doing well.
Okay.
So it's not just you're done.
Right.
They know that. I always tell them you're stuck with me forever. Sorry, not sorry. So
Awesome.
Exciting.
Doing what you're doing, yeah.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you very much, Jimmy.
Very good. Kudos.
Kiara's coming up because every so often we go through a process where we check our student report cards. And we're at that point where we want to update them. We want to make sure there's strong communications to our parents, and it helps our students and parents get information that will help them grow and get to new levels. So we're starting that process. We're not going to be approving anything now because it's just beginning, but I thought it was just good timing for Kiara to kind of give you some information about what we're going through right now and how we're beginning this process, because eventually we'll come to you with new report cards that we're going to use in the district. So Kiara has excitedly taken on this task to do. So Kiara.
Thank you. Promise to be brief, even though I have slides. So the superintendent brought it to our attention, like he said, that it was about that time. There's been some barriers in the past, COVID, adoptions, and things like that, but now we kind of have a clearing in our work and our capacity, even with some extra members of our team to help do this work and do a pretty good job. So I'm just going to briefly tell you our process and how we hope to go about this. We don't have anything completely crystallized yet, but we do have some things that are kind of boiling to the top, just to give you an update of where we're going with it so far. So for this process, for this round, these are just some things that we want to try to accomplish. Obviously, we want to review our current practices, and we want to look at how we communicate progress to best engage our parents. We want to redefine and make some adjustments, maybe even deselect some things that we've been doing that aren't relevant anymore. We want to look at, and in order to do that, we want to make sure that we look at our student data. What is our data saying? What are our students saying? What are our parents and our staff saying? We want to make a plan. We're going to communicate that plan, and then we're going to try to finish the work. Based off of what we decide, that will determine our timeline. So, and it may be different by grade bands or buildings. So, just in a nutshell, this is kind of what we've done so far. I've initiated conversations with our administrative team just to start the conversation, just to kind of begin to think about what would make sense to do at this point in time. And like I said, it's kind of trickling out in the very early stages of it, trickling out to be a little different in terms of what the principals are thinking by grade band. We've gotten the most work done so far with the primary. They currently are the most motivated to really tackle some challenges that they've been working through at K-3. And so as we work through all of the grade bands, we want to talk to all these stakeholder groups, teachers, intervention specialists, make sure we've got the special ed side of things covered, talk to parents, and then of course our students. And just from the conversations that we've had with those groups so far, these are the things that have boiled to the top. Thankfully, everyone is committed to better communication and access to information for parents. Everyone's in agreement that we want consistency between the buildings. We agree that whatever we do, we have to make time to train our teachers moving forward. And something has really sparked with our Success Found, which is not new, but we had like a refreshing of our focus on our Success Found criteria, and the primary and PCIS tried some things with that and conferences last semester and got some really great results from it. And so we want to try to figure out how we can capitalize on that through this process. And really, that's about where we are right now. I don't have any more hard specifics, but we'll be sure to make sure we keep you all updated along the way. Do you all have any questions?
Thank you, Kara.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Kiera?
And then I just have a few more, more for public, but for you as well, because everybody's invited. Our district band concert will be March 4th at PHS at 6:30. I think this was the first time we did it was last year. It's where Mr. Hines and Mr. Mahaney, as well as Mr. Acuna, they get all the bands, 6th grade all the way through 12th grade together, and they do a large concert in the gym. And they always commission a piece that's written especially for that band to perform. It's a really great night, so the public is invited to that. March will be Celebrate Art in our schools as well as music in our schools, and we have some great activities coming up to celebrate those great programs that we have. The first episode of STEM in our schools has been released, and that is on Indian Nation Station. It features our STEM program, K through 12, kind of highlights some of the activities that are going on and the programs that we offer. It's a really good video to watch. Just a reminder to our seniors and the parents that we do have information on our website. If you just go to www.piqua.org, the top right-hand side is a graduation cap. They can click on that, and we will continue to update that on and on. We think that's a really important thing because our seniors don't always go home and tell their parents, here's new information for graduation or upcoming events. They can always go to that and click on it, and parents will have access to everything that our students are getting. They're supposed to be sharing with their parents.
Right, right.
So, good resource. Kindergarten registration, of course, has begun. You heard that. And musical tickets go on sale this Saturday, March 1st, 7 a.m. You won't want to miss that. Don't sleep in because you'll probably miss getting tickets for the musical Grease. It's going to be a really great production. They've been working super hard at it. That's where Spencer's at tonight, practice. And just want to invite the public to that because it'll be a fun musical for everybody to see. So I believe that's all my highlights.
All right. All right, now we're going to move on down to the superintendent's agenda.
All right. Find. I had it here. If I didn't misplace it, I may have left it on my desk. There it is. Okay, the first one is recommend the board approval of the attached list of donations and grants. We just have one. There's an organization called the Great American Rivalry Series. They do this every year, and what they do is they sponsor events. It used to be a scholarship, but now because there was difficulties with that, it's where they donate money to the program. They find the greatest rivalries in the nation. So we are one of 50 in the nation that they have selected, and we are one of 2 in Ohio. It's the Troy-Piqua rivalry. So they sponsor events, and then after we do our football game, they always give money to our program, and it's $1,000. So just a great thing that they've done. It's an outreach that this group has put together, so we're proud to be a part of that and to carry on the tradition of being one of the oldest rivalries with Piqua-Troy. Recommend the board approval of the attached resolution authorizing membership of the Ohio High School Athletic Association for 25-26 school year. That's something we do every year at this time, so that would get approved. We're going to recommend board approval of the attached list of Piqua Summer School for the high school. Scott, do you have anything you want to share with that?
Just very similar to what we've done, a lot of credit obtainment over the summer. We work with 2 teachers and myself and one of the other building principals to grade and manage all of that over the summer. So it's a really good program for kids. many students you get ahead. It's not always for credit recovery, they're doing things for the
Okay, thank you. Recommend board approve the attached list of library books from Spring Creek Elementary for disposal and removal from the inventory of the Piqua City School District. I think most of them were paperbacks, and they're just all aged out at this point in terms of holding things together. So we're just going to be disposing those. And they recommend board approval of the enrollment of Ella Verhonig of Switzerland to the Piqua High School for the 25-26 school year from being a foreign exchange student from the STS Foundation. She's applied. A family who has hosted exchange students in the past already has been successful, is going to be taking her, so we're going to approve her. And that's it.
Did we skip school fees?
Did I skip that?
Did
I
we
did
say
skip
that one?
that. Yes, recommend board approval of the
Okay.
attached school fees. So we'll go over that. I can find that right here. So the school fees are not going to increase. We're able to keep those where they are. We're going to continue to keep the CEP program in for free lunches as long as that doesn't change with all the federal programmings that are happening. So we should be able to have free lunches for everybody again for the 25-26 school year. The other thing to point out is the Career Center fees on here are what we currently have. Sometimes they do make changes in those, so we are subject to their changes. So we're approving what we have right now that's current. But if they have to make changes, we will have to update those, and we would do so and communicate that to parents at that time. But as of now, this is all the fee structure that we have in place. And again, we have not increased any fees for next year.
All right. All right. Any questions for Dwayne? I am going to ask that we pull number 3 out and vote on that separately.
And that's just because your wife
That's
is
because my
assisting.
wife is teaching, yes, summer school. All right, so we will take, we'll do number 3 first, and then we'll vote on the rest of it. So on the recommended board approval for attached Piqua High School summer school proposal, I'll take a motion for that.
So moved.
And then a second. So Kelly and then Steve, you want a second? Second. All right. Kelly and then Steve on number 3. All right, Jeremy, we call roll.
Mrs. Mars.
Aye.
Mrs. McMacken.
Aye.
Mr. Frazier.
Aye.
Mr. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mr. Ford.
I abstain. All right. Now we will do, I'll take a recommendation for the rest of the superintendent's agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All right. We got a nomination and a second. Jeremy, we call roll.
Mrs. McMacken.
Aye.
Mr. Frazier.
Aye.
Mrs. Ford.
Aye.
Ford. Mrs. Mars. Mr.
Aye.
Ford.
Either way, aye.
You know, Mr. Mitchell. You know, I was thinking about your wife on the number 3.
Yeah.
That's what it was. My brain was. Yeah. Anyways, it's all good.
All right, motion passes. Thank you very much. Moving on down to personnel agenda, Mr. Lyons.
Thank you. Short agenda tonight, which is great. They will get longer as we start hiring folks in March, April, May. I wanted to highlight quickly, we'll hear more about these folks as we get closer to the end of the year, but the retirements that we have, Lisa Butt, I think I mentioned in the update that she came on board in 2006. She served many years as an ELA teacher and working with kids from the guidance department, the school counseling department the last few years, and she's been amazing, so we're going to miss her. And then, of course, Joyce Bostic, who came on board, if I'm correct, 1995. So she's done the majority of her career, obviously, with us, and she's just an outstanding teacher, and she's currently teaching math right now at PCIS. And once again, 2 very impactful teachers that have been great. I know my kids had them, so many of yours probably did as well, and they've been able to really have an impact on thousands of kids over the years, so we're going to miss them. Outside of that, I don't have anything else specifically to mention on these that I haven't mentioned in the update that I sent you. Do you have questions for me on anything here?
I don't think so. Anybody have any questions?
Okay, thank you.
All right, seeing none, I will take a motion to approve the personnel agenda.
So moved.
So do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Jeremy, call roll.
Mr. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mrs. Mars.
Aye.
Mrs. McMacken.
Aye.
Mr. Frazier.
Aye.
Mr. Ford.
Aye.
If we say nay, would it mean that they wouldn't be allowed to
Retire.
retire?
We've wished that before in this room, I think. Yeah.
There was a time when Frank Patrizio was on the board, he did that. There was a teacher
He
he didn't
did.
want to retire, and he said, "I'm not voting for this person to retire." So,
It was Jody,
yeah,
I think.
yeah, Jody Josephowski. Yeah. He
But
said, "I'm
it
not going
won't
to do it."
change
So,
it.
yeah, it didn't
Yeah.
change anything. Nah, he did it more for fun.
I
but-
would if it would change.
Yeah, yeah. They are very great, impactful teachers. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to new business.
Okay, recommend board approval of the special education resolution as presented. So the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce is just requiring that all districts verify that they have adopted the model policies that they have in place. We have to certify that you guys are adopted that officially and that we're doing it, which we are. And then we have to upload that to their website to show that we have done what we need to do. So that's what that is. Second thing is the second reading of the adoption of the Neola Board Policy 2265. We had the first reading last month. This would be the second reading this month to approve that policy. And then third is the first reading of all those policies. I gave you those summary of those to look at. Do you have any specific questions that I can go through and look at? Was there anything that was standing out or confusing or anything?
And this is all subject to change. It could change again.
Yeah, there's a lot of policy changes coming up, and through this month with a lot of the transition politically that's happened. So there's lots of things that go into play when that happens.
Okay.
Nothing really out of the ordinary, but there's some changes.
All right. Any questions for Dwayne? All right. We are going to vote on these separately.
1 and 2.
Yep, just 1 and 2. I will take a motion to recommend board approval of the special education resolution as presented.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Jeremy, please call roll.
Mrs. Mars.
Aye.
Mr. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mr. Ford.
Aye.
Mr. Frazier.
Aye.
Mrs. McMacken.
All right, motion passes. And now I will take a motion for the second reading and adoption of the Neola Board Policy Update.
So moved.
Second.
All right, Jeremy, please call roll.
Mr. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mrs. Mars.
Aye.
Mrs. McMacken.
Aye.
Mr. Frazier.
Aye.
Mr. Ford.
Aye. All right, and then we do not have to vote on the third agenda item there. No hearing of the public non-agenda items, but I do need to take a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of employee, negotiation of contract, student and/or school official as permitted under the Ohio Revised Code. There will be no action taken in this meeting. So I will take a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we are in executive session.